Hello Commanders, it's Commander JB and I'm here with another Elite Dangerous tutorial video. In this video I'd like to talk to you all about the user interface for the game. Now we're going to start with probably the most important part of the user interface, and it's dead center directly in front of your face, and that is our 3D radar. You can see this radar is a spherical holographic projection of what everything is around you. Contacts can be yellow squares, yellow triangles, white boxes, or blinking square triangles. Now, what do those mean? Anything that is a yellow contact is going to be some kind of entity, such as a station or a ship. If it is a square, that means the hard points on that vessel are not deployed, i.e. their weapons are not out, or mining lasers or what have you. If they are a triangle, that means the hard points are out. Now you can see in the center of the radar now there is a hollow square. Now a hollow square denotes an actual player, which is different from the NPCs that are solid, and that up there, going up there, is the player that we saw on our radar as the hollow square. Now you see he's above us. He's out of range now, which goes to show what the blinky triangle square thing is. It's, there's something there, but you don't actually know what it is. They're kind of out of scan range, and we can't target them. So now, to use this radar effectively, it's important to know where everything is in relation to you. You are the yellow triangle that's in the center, and your field of view is the two lines coming out from the front of that triangle in the center. Now, when everything is on the flat plane of you where that triangle is, that means it's directly in front of you. So this ship right here, this Cobra, that right there is selected. Now you can see that it has the angle brackets around the item. If it's flat on this radar, you can see it's directly in front of me. Now if I move back down and let it go up, it goes up and up and up, and then that is just higher than my field of view. And the same goes for these other items. Say this canister of grain that's floating down here. Let's target that. And now that that's on my field of view, and there you have it. So that's the 3D radar. It's might be a little confusing at start, but once you get the hang of it, it actually is very intuitive, and it's very helpful to know where everything is around you. Situational awareness is extremely important. So, what do we have next? Right next to our radar, on the left, we'll see 34%. This is our heat gauge. Now, the bar just indicates how much heat there is, and you have the percentage there. It's kind of a double indicator of how much heat you have on your ship. You can have up to 150% heat before your ship starts taking damage. If you get to 150% heat, your ship will start taking damage until your shields are gone. When your shields are gone, your hull starts taking damage, and your systems. What's on the other side of the radar? This is our throttle indicator and our speed. So let me give myself a little bit of throttle here. Push my throttle forward. And let's push it back. You'll see a small line with a circle next to it. This is what I want my desired throttle to be. Your ship can only accelerate a certain amount, and it decelerates at a certain rate. So moving this line around will set what I want my desired throttle to be, not what the actual throttle is at the current time. Let's put this back to 0. Now, next, to the throttle, on the top right there you see a circle with some dotted lines on it. Now, that is a very important piece of our navigation equipment. So say I have a destination targeted. This is a kind of 2D version of our 3D radar to tell us what direction we need to go for super cruising or for hyperdrive when we're using our frame shift. So now you can see that my long distance target here is Pace Guru, and that it is in front of me, and I have a yellow rectangle in that UI to tell me that. So if I turn around, you'll notice that as soon as I get to a certain point, that solid yellow rectangle that used to be there is now a hollow rectangle. That tells me that my destination is behind me. So I can use this as a 3D radar by, I'm spinning around, I'm like, okay, so it's still behind me, turn around, okay, now it's in front of me, and let's pitch up to get where I need to go. And pitch down to get back to where we need to go. And that's how you use that guy. Continuing on over here, we have our shield's health indicator. You have your shields, which are 3 blue lines around your ship. You have a 3D model of the ship, which mimics the rotation, what forces you are applying to your ship. So if I am trying to roll my ship, you can see that it's rolling. I give it some yaw. You can see my little ship model yaw. Give it some pitch up and down. Below that, we have our hull and our hull percentage. Pretty self-explanatory there. Let's continue on to the right. Here we have our power distribution meters. You see SYS for systems, ENG for engines, WEP for weapons. REST is a reset button. So I can reset my power. Below the capacitor bars, which the long tall bars are our capacitor power for each, you can see different settings that we can set for putting pips. We'll call them different pips we can fill to distribute our power. So this would be full power into my systems or shields. I can put more pips into engines or more pips into weapons. Each of these serves a function in changing how your ship works. By having more power into my systems, then my shield's capacitor will recharge faster, and I will be able to recharge my shields faster. I will also be able to withstand more damage incoming on my shields when I am giving more power to the shields. By putting more pips into engines, my ship will move faster, and this will allow me to turn at a faster velocity as well. By putting more pips into weapons, this will allow my weapons to cool down faster, allowing me to use them more often and fire more lasers. Because who doesn't like more lasers? It is good to set up some kind of macros for these, in my opinion, because a lot of times during combat you're going to want to switch between all the different settings of these throughout the battle. So let's continue on with the UI. Next we have our fuel gauge and our kind of ship status sensors in this box here. So the fuel, you can see my fuel current consumption, which is 4-point-something units per second. You see that long skinny yellow line there. That is actually how much fuel I have in my current reservoir tank, and below that are the tanks of fuel that I have available. Each of those pips on the fuel system will equal to 1 reservoir tank. When you refill your fuel, you will have full tanks plus a full reservoir. The way it works is when this yellow line goes all the way down, then one of those below pips of the broken up line will refill that entire reservoir with fuel. Below that we have mass locked indicator, which means we are mass locked. Mass locking is when you have something of much greater mass near you that will prevent you from going into frame shift, either supercruise or hyperdrive. So a large ship can do this, large asteroids can do this, planets, stations, and alike. Anything of sufficiently larger mass than yourself. Next we have our landing gear indicator and our cargo scoop indicator. All indicators turn blue when they are activated. When you're mass locked, it's blue. When your landing gear is down, it's blue. When cargo scoop is down, it's blue. So above that, you will be able to see our signature UI element that kind of looks like audio waves. Right now we're just giving off a normal signature. If we have excessive heat or we are moving at excessive speeds, the signature will increase. We can also disable our signature completely by going silent.
Silent running.
So using silent running, you can see our signature is now silent. Our shields are off, but no one will be able to see us on their radars. They will still be able to visually see us, however. We cannot go invisible. We don't have a cloak.
Silent running off.
So now my shields will recharge, which is also another important UI element. When this red circle completely fills up, my shields will come back online. And they will recharge as long as I have capacitor in my system. I do not need to actually have power in my systems in order to recharge shields, as long as there is capacitor in there. So continuing on with our dashboard UI, we're going to move to the left now. Immediately to the left of our heat indicator, you'll see our target indicator. I do not currently have a target, so it has the nearest celestial body targeted. But what I can do is come around here and target the Bradfield Orbital Space Station. And now you'll see that the space station is targeted. You'll see a 3D rendering of the space station and its orientation to me. This is important. While you're in combat, you can see the orientation of other enemy ships to you. If you're being chased, you can see if they're still coming towards you or going away from you and whatnot. You can also use it to see where the entrance of a station is. If you do not know, you can look at the model. There. And you see this is a Cobra who has been targeted. Now, when another ship is targeted, you'll notice that their targeted 3D model is very similar to the one that you have on the right for your health. You can see that, so you can see their shield's health and their hull. Now, directly to the left of our targeted 3D model area, you can see what we have targeted in text. We have a Cobra Mark III targeted that is 4 kilometers away from me. His name is Bishop, and his local status is clean. Below that, we see where we are in space. We see that we are in the Bradfield Orbital Station, and we are currently in federal jurisdiction. So that's the dashboard UI. Now, looking up, we can see comms panel up to the left. This comms panel is useful for talking to other players or for just knowing when certain events happened, like entering and leaving no-fire zones. Up here to the right, we have an info panel. Info panel will pop up with various info, such as what docking pad you can dock at when you request docking, and various other things, such as if you've received a bounty for killing a wanted criminal or war bonds and such. Now that's the basic UI. Lastly, we have our 2 side panels. So on the right here we have our functions and status panel. The first tab here is status, where you can see your commander name, what ship you're flying, general information, how much money you have, how many kills you've done, your current status in the system. This will change based on whatever system you're in for that crime there, and if there's a bounty in this system for you. If you have a bounty in another system, this will not show up here. You have to go to that system to see that. Next we have our modules section, which you can see all the different modules your ship has. You may turn them online and turn them offline. I don't know what turning my paint job on and off does. Maybe it disables my paint job. I don't know. So we also can turn off drives, and we can set priorities. Priorities relate to when you have power failures, which systems will go offline first. So you can set everything to a different priority if you like, so that if you have power failures, you can shut down systems incrementally to continue functioning as you desire. Next we have our fire groups tab, and fire groups, you can assign numerous fire groups. As such, when you are adding anything to your fire groups, you have two options for firing. With the yellow selected, you use your primary fire button. When it is blue, it will use a secondary fire button to fire. The next tab over we have is cargo, which you can see I'm not currently carrying any cargo. This will just list all the cargo you have and its quantity and details. Next tab over we have is functions. We have various functions for your ship here, including self-destruct that has been newly added. All of these are fairly self-explanatory on what they do. Next, over to the left here, we have our navigation panel and our targeting panel as well. So on navigation, you can see different places you can navigate to. All of these systems are systems that we can jump to from here, or we can go to the galaxy map. Next we have missions. Now on the missions tab, you will see what missions you have currently selected, or if you owe any fines in the area. I've got 475 credit fines for firing my laser in the no-fire zone here. Next up, we have contacts. You can see all contacts that are currently visible on your scanner. Contacts are everything that is a solid entity on our 3D radar. If they're flashing, they will not show up on the contacts menu because we cannot target them. So we can, for example, lock target on any of these. On ships, it is a single click to lock target. On a station, you have the option to lock target or dock. Next up, we have subsystems, which the subsystems panel reflects what you would see on the modules panel if you were flying that ship. Each of these are individually targetable, and they do take damage individually, so you can kill them and disable certain parts of the ships. Drives, however, are a shared damage state. Killing one drive kills both drives. Shooting at any other of the drives will damage them both at the same time. Lastly, we have the cargo tab. Cargo tab is any cargo that you have scanned using a cargo scanner on the selected target vessel. Weapon safe. And that's it for the UI tutorial video. If you have any questions on the UI, please leave a comment in the section below. Or you may also talk to me directly on Twitch at twitch.tv/JB_haste. Thank you, and fly safe, Commanders.